Let me ask you a question. Doesn't it feel like America is more divided than ever? How many times you sit down and you listen and you hear people talking about us against them? You hear them talking about the distance that we have. But what if I can show you that America is not as divided as it may seem? That we, the people, may be more united in what we want than we've ever anticipated before. That's the key that I'm going to go through in today's video. We've been writing articles on this. See, the Charlie Kirk murder, execution, assassination, martyrism, whatever you call it, his death in a public limelight sent shockwaves. But what those shockwaves did is they identified through some research that we'd already been doing on worldviews that the research is pretty accurate and has been since the dawn of time. We either, as humans, we either live in a separatist or a scarcity worldview, and everything rolls from that, or we live in a connected or abundance worldview, and everything rolls from that. But lately, what we've been seeing since last week is no matter what part of the political spectrum that you might be on, whether you call yourself a conservative, a liberal, whether you call yourself a Democrat or a Republican, whether from a political Christian standpoint, whether you call yourself a Democratic liberal Christian or a conservative Republican Christian, it all comes down to the fact I'm seeing a giant separatist or scarcity, a fear-driven worldview. That, my friends, is what we're going to dig into today in this video, which we've titled, What Unites Us? Shared Values Across the Political Divide. Let's stop looking at the glass half empty, and let's see in this as, hey, we are together, because united we stand, and divided we fall. Hi, I'm Troy Dooley, the compassionate patriot, and I want to dig in today and look at some stuff that we found in our research that we've been going. And look, our research, we're studying a lot of people smarter than we are. Economics, politics, religion, education. We're going through history to say, what is it? Because everybody's got these different worldviews. One of the ones that I hear about all the time is, I live my life through a biblical worldview. Well, hey, Jesus didn't have a Bible, so there was no biblical worldview. Some of you may say, well, he had the Torah. That's not our Bible. That's just part of the Bible. Okay, that's the way you got to look at this. But here's what Jesus did have. He had a connected worldview. And that's what we've got to look. How did he live in a divided world and yet connect so many people? Pissed off? Yeah, all the leadership. But he did something powerful. And that's what I want to look at today as we roll into this thing. To really go into it, let's look at the common grounds between both the left and the right, because that, I think, is really backed by the research that we've come across. It doesn't matter the spectrum that you stand on. What matters the most is erasing these differences and realizing that we are a nation that loves freedom, a nation that loves responsibility, accountability, a nation that wants better for our kids and better for our grandkids than we've had it. That's what's one of the things that's really been, from the dawn of time, I think, built the unity that we've had. I'm not sugarcoating that we've had some pretty bad periods in American history. So don't even come across that I'm not. But I want to look at what has been the reason behind that and how can we fix that today. So if we do that, I think we've got something here, guys. I really do. So let's look at the first one. Families and kindness. You know, this is big. Whether you lean left or right, we all cherish family, kindness, and caring for those around us. Liberals, they might push for community programs that lift everybody up. We see this with community organizers. President Obama, community organizer. This is what we see. Conservatives often focus on the personal responsibilities within the family. Everybody has to come up and hold their own and be responsible. But here's the thing. Studies show that we all find purpose in these bonds. Doesn't matter how we look at it. That unity is important. That family is important to us. We want to support our loved ones and be there for our neighbors. It's about empathy. And that's pretty universal. It's not just about survival. That's the thing that we've got to always remember here. What about opportunity and responsibility? Well, liberals want systems that give everyone a fair shot at success. Conservatives stress hard work, personal accountability. Surveys are showing us we're all on the same page. We want a life where our efforts pay off, where we can climb the ladder, build security for ourselves and our family, and drive to a better future. We see it from different lenses, but we want the same thing. So instead of focusing on a scarcity mindset, what if all of a sudden we started taking a small shift? Because, man, some of this is ingrained in us. I was born and raised in the southern side of the Midwest to deep south, and I understand divide, but I also understand unity, and that's the key to what we're talking about right here. Morals and security. This is an interesting one. Research shows that both sides care about fairness, loyalty, and keeping people safe from harm. Liberals might focus on the equality and the compassion side, while conservatives lean towards tradition and group unity. But we all want a stable, ethical world. Even if we see challenges differently, we're chasing the same sense of security and purpose. If we can find what brings us together, we can build from there. That's powerful when you think about it. I want to look at a different one for a minute. I want to look at our love for America, because that seems to be the biggest rift right now. Doesn't matter if you're watching CNN, Fox News, or something else. Matter of fact, you want something that really pisses me off? Is listening to preachers get on a stage, and they're not talking about a worldview in the sense of, hey, how can we bring people together? What would Jesus be doing in this case? How did he dive into all of this? If the Bible's a case study, we can find an answer in there. But instead, I see pastors getting up there and preaching us against them. And I'm going to tell you what, I've never been a political Christian. I very seldom even call myself a Christian anymore, because I don't even know what that term means. But I do love Jesus, and I love following his rule of life and the practices and the way he communicated, and the fact that he never did the same thing twice, which I thought was pretty cool. See, it's not about a methodology. It's not about a separatist worldview. It's not about trying to tell everybody that doesn't believe the way we do that they're going to hell in a handbasket. It's about meeting them in their brokenness and trying to bring them up. Does that sound a lot like politics? Yeah, it does when you get right down to it. So let's look at this for our love for America. Both liberals and conservatives love American freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of individual rights. Liberals see these as a tool to protect the vulnerable and drive progress. Conservatives view them as the bedrock of personal liberty and limited government. But at the core, and this is important, we all cherish this nation as a beacon of freedom. It's what makes America, America. We just coming at it because we don't think it's been fairly balanced. Well, maybe it hasn't. But if we come together in unity, we'll be able to figure out a way to make this work. And over our years, the whole reason that we've progressed this far from where we started is because there were men and women who said, let's come together to make this a better place than it was. And that's what we've got to start doing today. What about opportunity and progress, or opportunity and prosperity? Well, let's take a peek at it for a minute. The American dream is what we all look at. We share this. We love the land of opportunity. Matter of fact, we may not see it as a land of opportunity. Your worldview may tell you, no, it's not fair for me. But if the numbers are correct, we got about 30 million people on the southern border that thought the American dream was still alive and active. And yeah, some of you can debate that and say, well, Troy, those are cartel members. I believe there's probably some of that there too. But see, I live in a neck of the woods where I got a lot of Latino friends. Some of them, they're here for the opportunity to make money to send back home. They're what we'd call illegals. Man, they are some of the most loyal people I've ever met. I want them to do it right. And I tell them all the time, you got to do this thing right. But it's tough because we've got two sides that just can't come together to create a process for this. Well, let's start coming together. Let's stop using people as a political tool, because you wouldn't want to be used as a tool. So let's do this thing right, man. Think about this for a minute. I believe it's a bipartisan passion. Whether it's starting a business or building a career, we want a nation where everyone has a chance to thrive, a chance to build something, a chance where they can go to work. Maybe you're not an entrepreneur. Maybe you just want to go out there and you want to be the best wildcatter you can be. You want to be the best iron worker you can be. You want to show your kids what hard work is. Maybe you want to say, man, I'm tired of using my hands that way. I'm going to go to work for Amazon. And I'm going to learn how to work on computers, man. I'm going to do all this robotic stuff. Cool. You're going to go home on the weekends, buy a boat, chill out in a tent, do something, watch TV. That's the American dream. It's what you want. And that's the thing. You can prosper in so many different ways. What about principles and improvement? Well, we love what America was founded on. Democracy, dignity, respect for all. Yeah, we all question the way it was written and all that. I get all that. But let's look at today. Liberals celebrate the adaptability and the inclusivity of every person that's there. I'm all for that. Conservative honors America's history and their strength. But we all agree, true patriotism means working together to make this country even better. It's about building the principles that we hold dear. That's what's built this. That's patriotism. That's not partisanship. And that's what we've got to get down to. It's not about the party voice, the party line. It's about we the people line. It's about being patriots and loving each other and building on each other and being there for each other. So I want to sum this up. I've gone too long as it is, but I want to focus on this. So what unites us? Liberals and conservatives share a love for family, a love for opportunity. They love moral values. We pride ourselves in the American freedom. It's a promise to prosperity. And it's enduring ideas, I think, have what built us so far. And we've got to focus on these. And I'm not talking about an equality where, hey, you just get it given. No, I'm saying everybody needs to have an equal opportunity to bust their butt and go out there and make something for themselves. Doesn't matter from building a business, inventing something new, creating music. Doesn't matter. Everybody needs that same opportunity. So here's my call to action. Here's what I want us to do. I want us to dig deeper. I want this to be the catalyst that we start digging into our personal world views. I want you to read the articles that we're going to put up because I want them to really be something that causes you to think about your own family, about your own community. We do a lot of yelling and screaming about Washington, but what are you doing to help your local community? I've got a phenomenal restaurant here in my neck of the woods. It's called Bubba Jack's. And when you walk into that place, man, those girls serve the best breakfast under the sun, lunch on Friday nights, dinner. But there's a board about this big right out front. And at any given day, you're going to see a ticket on that board because a homeless person in the middle of the woods can come out and grab a meal and walk into that restaurant and not be embarrassed because they can't afford to pay for it. See, to me, that's the American dream. It's people coming together to help people. So I want you to look at my full article that we're going to put up. It's going to give more information on this. You're going to be able to see what I believe really unites us. So what do you believe that unites us? That's the key. Guys, until the next video, we're going to cover these on each of our articles. I want you to live well and finish strong. And go out there today and think about what this has been about. See if there's something that you can grow off of. We'll probably put this video up before we get the article up, but this is important to me. I want you to start seeing it. We'll see you on the next video.